Hello, this is the Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals, where we holistically seek the truth in life using our entrepreneurial spirit. I'm your host, JR Knopp. All right, I am back here again with Amita. Why don't you go ahead and explain what you do and who you are to my group
Hi,
here?
so yeah, absolutely. My name is Amita, and I have a practice, an Ayurvedic practice. And Ayurveda is a holistic healthcare system from India from about 5,000 years ago in written form. Before then, they used to speak it in poetry to each other, so it's been around for a while. And one thing you know about humans, that humans don't do things that don't work. So if something's been
There.
around for that long, that's what's so curious about it for me. That really piqued my curiosity. Is like, okay, this must work, right? And having worked in the allopathic or Western field for close to 20 years, and in hospitals and witnessing that, there are elements of it that work really well, and then there's some that need support. And that's what really brought me into this realm of holistic health, because I feel that people need something that helps empower them or gives them ability to bring that power back to them when they're making their own health decisions. So my practice is about integrating Western and Eastern medicine, giving different herbal suggestions, lifestyle suggestions, nutrition recommendations, so that people are more into themselves, knowing thyself, so that they can then navigate their lives in a place of joyful and wisdom kind of seat. Yeah.
Okay. So do you own and run your own practice, or how does that work with you? Are you kind of independent? Are you part of like a group or a conglomerate, or?
As of right now, I am my own single practice. So this
Hey.
is so I wear many hats. I wear the practitioner hat, but I wear a lot of different hats. I'm in the stage of growing and having people help with a lot of the back end, business. I'm sure, as you understand, that you need. Hopefully, I'm hoping one day that we can have like a whole little collective of people.
Mm.
Maybe people who are other Ayurvedic practitioners, but maybe people who doing some other modality that's going to complement. That would be my goal, to have a place where it's a one-stop shop for people, where they can get
There you
all their
go.
kind of needs met, or if someone has a specific niche, they can be referred to someone within there. Uh, that would be really great. I mean, that would
Oh,
be
nice.
amazing. So let's speak it into the universe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that you got to. I mean,
Yeah.
I know me personally, I come from, I run my own business, small business minded, the entrepreneurial spirit. And I think a lot of people kind of in your situation, holistic healing and medicine, you got to have the entrepreneurial spirit. Otherwise, it is tough out there, and it's not going to be an easy thing of, oh, I could just open up shop and put a sign up and go. And people, you gotta bring a quality product, and you gotta actually have something behind that. And like you were saying, this has been around for 5,000 years. So how did you come to find it? Or you said you were a nurse practitioner? What led you down
No.
this path?
There used to be an RN. I'm not that
Okay.
anymore. Now I'm just an Ayurvedic practitioner, but not just, I am. See,
You
there's that
are. There you go. There's
fixing the
that
words. This
difference.
is like also part of the entrepreneurial mindset, fixing words and how we speak, and actually speaking into existence. Because I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, I'm in school to get my Ayurvedic clinical specialist degree, which is similar to a doctorate, because I'm doing a dissertation synopsis. So, I've gone to school for quite a bit for Ayurveda. But the way that I came to Ayurveda actually was when I realized that I had a substance use disorder problem. Couldn't
Okay.
figure it out. Could not figure it
Okay.
out. I did as much as I could. As a nurse, we had no training, very little training in the realm of substance use disorder, which is quite interesting because it's quite prevalent. And
Nowadays it is.
yeah, and so I tried to manage it myself and ended up finally going through the whole channels of rehab, sober living, doing the whole 9 yards. And at that time, I actually had a dream. And I had a dream about the system. So my grandmother had taught me things that are similar in
Okay.
line with
Okay.
Ayurveda, but it was never called Ayurveda. But I literally had a dream. They spoke this word. It was a dinner party of sorts. And I don't ever remember my dream. So this is very, very poignant that this happened. Woke up, searched for schools around me, signed up, and I started going to school. And I got better. They had me on a ton of psych meds trying to get me stabilized, and they were also giving me all sorts of side effects like heart palpitations, dizziness, and came off those meds nice and smoothly, and people started noticing what was asking me, what am I doing? You know, you're doing so much better, right? And so I started teaching my friends and family. And then I got to a point where I started teaching my patients in the hospital just because I got so used to teaching it. And patients
Mm-hmm.
were like, hey, do you have a practice? And I was like, wow, practice. And with that seed, I started a practice. And so I
Yes.
could be accessible to other people.
There you go. There you go. So
Yeah.
what is it kind of like a mindset? You said it's kind of a blend of Eastern and Western, your practice.
Mhm,
How does that work out, or what can you kind of explain further on that?
yeah, so I'm not practicing Western medicine in the way that it is practiced because I do not have legally have that stance, but I do have the
Mm,
knowledge of working there, right?
okay.
So I
Yeah.
have knowledge of values, what that means. I know what doctors are usually trying to achieve. I understand the pharmacological effects of medications because I've worked with them for a long time. So having done that, that I bring that in when I'm holding that piece of, okay, where are our goals going? How can we work in conjunct with your Western team rather than dismissing it. There's a lot of like an either or. I'm not for that. Each each science has its place. It's like which one do we use when and how do we work together? Right? There's this
Mm,
ability to work together. How can Ayurveda come and supplement where the Western system is weak? Preventative care is not doing its job right now. The doctors are overworked, the clinics are overrun. People can't even go to see their own doctors for months. I have people come in, they're like, I can't see my doctor for 3 months. So I'm here
wow.
because I don't know what to do about this problem. You know, so I've
Yes.
definitely had people come in that. So I'm hoping that in time we can be an integrative system altogether and really help each other and also really ultimately help people to
Yeah,
achieve
definitely.
wellness and health. Yeah.
So I take it you kind of just jump in with these people. I'm assuming kind of go in like, hey, what are you putting into your body? What's your diet like, or what's your
Mhm.
environment like? And then just kind of helping them through the different paths from there. Because it sounds like, hey, I'm not gonna shut out your Western medicine completely.
Mhm.
Let's kind of figure out where the holes are and see if we
Absolutely.
can't get this boat to dock for you to where you're in Wellnessville versus the treacherous sea of being sick.
Yes. So I basically sit down with people. I have them tell me what is the problem that they're facing right now? Where is it that they want to go? And I also hear about everything that's happened in the past, not just their health stuff, but any huge life events, any traumatizing events, anything that stands out. And basically, when people sit in front of me, I say to them, if you feel the urge to say it, please say it. They say that, and there was a book that was written actually by a doctor about private practice, primary care. And it says that a doctor interrupts a patient within 90 seconds of them speaking.
100%.
90
Yep. Yep.
seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last time I was actually, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Okay.
You're like, I'm thinking on this.
Let
Yeah.
me think.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds about right. Okay.
and that's normal. That's the average. So sometimes you're getting shorter, sometimes you're getting longer, but this is the average. It's nice. And this is researched. So we are not allowing patients to tell their full narrative. We're not
Mm-mm.
giving them the space and diagnosing within, or I'm not, but doctors are diagnosing within very short period of time. This again was written by a doctor, so I'm using her words. And a very short period of time, and a lot of information is being left out, right? And so
Yeah.
there's going to be misdiagnosing, there could be medication that errors, there could be dosaging issues, anything like that. But also it's like, what is the root cause that is causing this?
Yes.
You know,
No,
if
I
it
believe Western medicine and doctors nowadays, and this is my own personal opinion through my experience with them, they're not on my high note on that. But just to give credence to what you're saying, I've played football and done motocross. I've been kind of a
mm,
misplaced warrior my whole life, so I've had a lot of concussions. And then I think it was like 2018 or so, I was riding my mountain bike to work. Wasn't wearing a helmet, doing about 25 miles an hour. Somehow went over the handlebars, went face first into the concrete, woke up in the emergency room. Like, what happened? And then, another time after that, I think it was in 2022, was snowboarding, hit my head again. And that one really just sent me through a whirlwind. But I go to my doctor and literally, didn't even tell him barely any of that. It's like, hey, I'm here for migraines. And he goes, okay, how many are you having per week and per month? And I just kind of let him know. And okay, I'm going to prescribe you this. And yeah, we'll see how this does. And literally, it was probably less than 90 seconds. I was like, That's all? You're not gonna do any tests, any scans, any ask me what's going on? Well, you have migraines, right? Yes. Well, here you go. I left there livid. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was expecting an MRI or something, like scan my brain,
Mm.
make sure I've had many of these concussions, doc. Like, what are you trying to do here? And yeah, just what can I write you and get you out the door as fast as can because I need the next patient come in so this conveyor belt can keep going. I just don't feel like they're doctors anymore. That's my personal opinion. So I like hearing what you got going on here with your own personal practice. That sounds very. I want more of it. What?
Thank you. Thank you. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've worked with some amazing doctors and they are kind-hearted, so but the training that happens and the time that they have, it's different than what I'm doing, right? And for me, like if you came in and said to me, I'm having headaches, I'm gonna be like, well, what time of day did they happen? How long do they last? Do they go around your eating habits? What have you been eating the last 3 days? Did anything change in your life recently? These are all questions that I would be asking. And then, of course, I
Yeah.
would ask subsequent questions depending on your
Sure.
answer, right? And then we're
See,
gonna
and I would
adjust
have
your
loved
time, your
that.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
I would have been like, oh, thank you. It sounds like okay. Let's get to the bottom of this, doc. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
like
I think you're right. A lot of it, in my opinion, just from what I've seen in the industry, it's just like they're trained this way. It's like here's your set of symptoms, here's the prescription for these symptoms, and then not diving in. And I'm not saying all doctors, because I know there are some
yeah.
really good ones out there. I've had some good ones that no longer are practicing. They got old enough to where they just, retired on. But I'm no one to trash the industry. I think they're very important. I just think there needs to be a change in how they're trained and what is actually important, and not so much of, in my opinion, it's like insurance companies only going to pay for this amount of time. Hurry up and go,
Mhm.
go, go, go. But so with that being said, what have been some of like the setbacks or the problems you've had to face starting up your own practice and kind of going down this path? What was kind of scary for you in the beginning versus anything else that you've done in your life?
So yeah, well, fear, right? I'll tell you about business, and I'm sure you know this, but anybody to listening, that business is definitely a great look of yourself in the mirror. If you can't look at yourself
Okay.
straight in the eye and be honest with yourself about where you need to expand and grow and humble yourself and be honest, your
Mm-hmm.
business most likely will not grow because your business is a reflection of you. Right. And so I bring all my core principles of integrity into my business. And because I do that, it has flourished in a very beautiful way. But has it been hard? Yes, it has. It has been difficult. It does require the inner work. It does require patience and grace with myself, right? And looking at myself and also admitting where I could be better. And so that was probably one of the biggest, and there's fear, right? We get scared of change. We get scared of things that are not comfortable, even if uncomfortable things have become comfortable for us, right? And so that is a lot of stuff that needs to be done with the business. Now, besides inner work and that whole shebang, which I could talk a whole podcast just on that, right? And I'm sure you
Fair
could
enough. Fair
too.
enough. No, sometimes we need to hear it more in one place before it really sets in with some people. So feel
Yeah.
free, go on.
Yeah. The next thing is that people, not everyone knows what Ayurveda is. Like even I didn't, right? As an Indian
Yeah.
person whose grandparents were teaching her things about Ayurveda, I didn't even know that it had a name. Like the fact that I'm like, wow, I would have loved to have been put in this as like a kid, started learning about this, right? Some of my teachers have been learning since a very small age, like learning these
Wow.
what we call shlokas of poetry. They can recite them off the top of their head. It's amazing, it's beautiful, it's inspiring. And I'm like, oh, that would have been cool. So I would say that for me is that people learning what it is that I do. And also how does it apply to them? Those are the two biggest challenges. So it's like, okay, I can get people to understand what Ayurveda is, but how's it going to help them? So with that, I think, growing the practice has been a big deal. Having referrals is a big deal. Having my own clients tell me what it is that they were searching for when they found me. And then having what's it called when they tell you their stories, their narratives. and
Yeah.
using that as a way. Because maybe I can't explain what it is that I do, but sometimes they can explain it better, right? Especially if
Well,
someone's going through the same issue
the
as that
what they
person.
say, the physician within knows a lot, and sometimes in yeah, I mean, to play on what you're saying, to quote, it's kind of one of my favorite songs by Michael Jackson, but it's "The Man in the
Mm.
Mirror." Like, if you
Oh,
want to go out and change the world, first you got to look at yourself. And with small business owners, you can't hide from the truth. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to ignore this issue and it'll fix itself," and that's some of the fun and scary thing is most times when you hear people like, "Oh, you're going to start your own practice. You're going to be your own boss. You're going to, well, you'll get to set your own hours. You guys will be, you guys, it's so unfair." It's like, yeah, but it's tough. It's scary. Sometimes business goes on through more hours than you care to admit throughout the day, especially when you're first starting up. And I mean, how was that for you, finding your first clients, or was it an easy transition from what you were already doing? Or did you kind of stick your foot in one world and kept your foot in your normal job until you got a certain clientele up and going? How did that go for you?
so for me, yeah, it was definitely a slow build, right? And
Okay.
the reason that
Okay.
was is because I want to do the best job. So, like, as you know, I'm even furthering my education now because I get people coming to me who are pretty complicated, right? So I need
Believe it.
more knowledge than what I have currently to deal with some of these cases. And I bring these cases to my mentors with permission of the client, of course, and go through them because, I know even having worked already in the medical field that, the knowledge is endless. The knowledge is endless and
Hmm.
you never know every answer. There's always going to be something new and there's always going to be something that like blindsides you as well.
Mm.
So being able to know that, knowing that having worked, I wanted to build really slowly because I want to make sure I did the best job with everybody in front of me. And that in itself brought its own fruits, right? Because then those people have flown off and done amazingly and they're talking about it. And that's just, I don't even have to do, I don't have to do anything. But that wasn't my intention. My intention wasn't for that. My intention was to just honestly do the best job that I could do. And yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I mean, before I got into Blissful Botanicals and Kratom manufacturing, I was a real estate agent.
Hmm.
And there's many different types of salespeople. Some people want to get rich quick. I want to franchise this. I want to make sure the world gets it out, knows what I'm doing. The other people, they want to offer a quality product because they know themselves, just like karma. Like, if I'm going to put good out in the world, I want to do right by most people. And I took that attitude with real estate. And my real estate practice started off slower than most because I was more worried about. I always told my clients, like, hey, if you find a house you like, I'm going to try to talk you out of it and point out every wrong thing I can, versus like most pushy salespeople. Oh, I want you to buy right now because I'm not going to get paid until you go. I was always like, hey, the money will take care of itself. Let's make sure you get the right house. But I noticed a huge explosion because I was doing it right. It was like putting that good out there, like, hey, I'm not in it for the quick dollar. I'm here for the long haul. I want to do right by people.
Hmm.
And building a business, sometimes you got to decide which way you want to go. If you want to try to hit it rich, go quick. But I think honestly, some of the best long lasting businesses, and I've been in business about 10 years with just this Blissful Botanicals, it takes a little time. And to do it right, you got to be patient. And sometimes when bills are stacking up, it's hard to be patient.
It
It is
is.
hard.
It
You're
is
just like,
hard.
ah. So yes,
Yep.
I can empathize with you quite a bit on that. I'm assuming you probably went through some of that same thing of,
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going through that growing pains right now where I'm like, do I pay my rent or do I pay this person to make sure that the website is loading correctly?
oh, 100%.
Like
Oh, and you got
these
employees yet, or are you
um so I
starting
have
to?
contractors.
Okay,
Contractors.
okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I have
Yeah,
contractors because I think for me to hire a full-time employee, they would have to be able to do some of the skill set that and I haven't met someone yet who could fill in for me, right? If something was going on.
100%.
So, I have some amazing contractors that have been with me for a few years and some newer, and I'm really, really grateful. Everybody that works for me loves what they do, and that's super important to me,
Yes.
because it's just like cooking, right? So one of the things like you always want to make sure you know who's cooking your food. Not eating out is not only just, it's fun, trust me, it is, and it's a luxury, and it's so nice, and someone
Well,
does your
yeah,
dishes, and you can go to a restaurant and sit down, or you just don't have to deal with anything. But there's all this excess of fat, salts, and stuff, different depending on where you go, but also the person who's cooking it. Is the person
well,
who's
yeah,
cooking your food working 3, 4 jobs just to get things ends met? Are they tired? Are they having a bad day? Right? So the cooking, that energy goes into the food. Same with
100%.
like herbs or buy any kind of product. I want to make sure I know the business owner. All my herbs and everything that I get, I know the business owners. I've talked to them one on one. I know what kind of energy they have because I'm then supplying those to my clients, right? But then even to talk about work as well. So now we're really kind of getting to the energy of business,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want people who are doing work for me to love what they do. So yeah.
No,
And
having that positive energy is it's super important, and sometimes it's very frustrating being a small business owner. Having employees, it's not that easy of like, okay, I'm gonna fire you and hire someone right back because you still got to train them and you got to go through all that. And like you're saying, it's like someone to replace you. I always found that tough in real estate as well. Like getting an assistant was like, well, I got to make sure they're doing the paperwork right, and they got to have certain, they can't contact the client this way and that way. And it was always, yeah, sure. It'd be nice just to hire someone if they could just like, if I could download here, let me just download that into your brain. Okay, we're good. Now you can go out and do it. Don't work that way. And that was, at least I found out with the culture around here when I had employees. Once that bad attitude or that vibe gets going, it
oh,
metastasizes pretty quick.
yeah, I can imagine.
And if you don't stay on top of it, I've heard even in extreme situations of like call centers, people that are selling and have big groups of call center, like whether it be like an insurance company or something like that. As soon as someone got like a bad taste in their mouth, they found out like if they didn't fire those people right away, they would start chit chatting around the office. And then it was almost like a pandemic type spread. You would see it spread. And they've said they've had to nuke almost a whole sales team of like 50, 60 people because something bad like that has happened. I was like, well, that's a bit extreme, but it kind of goes into, yeah, once a bad vibe starts, if you don't get on top of it and
Mm.
change the culture, and I feel you 100% on that. Whether people believe it or not, I believe it, and putting good vibes out there, and especially dealing with the herbs we get when we get in. And if we're all in good spirits when we're putting it together and putting it in packaging, call me a hippie or whatever, I believe that transfers on. And I think
It
that
totally
energy,
does.
it spans out to other people, and they might not know it, but they open that and it might just put a smile on their face because we were smiling and having a good time working here. And it wasn't like, drag of a job, or like you're saying, this is my third job. I'm on a 14-hour shift. I can barely keep my eyes open. I'm
I
about to
haven't
fall
seen my
asleep.
kids in 3 days. I haven't had a proper night's sleep. And then it's really unfortunate like that. That's some of the reality, but then that's also, that's something to think about for your own self, right?
Yeah.
So we all have to, but I'd say I'm so glad that you understand what I'm talking about, right? It's such an important part. It's such an
Yeah.
important part of business and having people work for you. I I forget the rest of the original question, but I feel like we
You
deviated.
know, after that, I've done forgot about it too. We got off on another. So when people want to come find something with you, what has been your outside? It sounds like your best mode of like advertising is more word of mouth referrals, or have you like being in the alternative scene? Is it tough for you to be like on social media and say, "Hey, come look at me"? Have you been like banned by any of that, or
No,
is
I
it been
haven't
pretty
been banned.
easy kind of spreading the word on that? I guess if that makes any bit of sense.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky in the fact that I've never been banned from social media. I do try to be quite PC, but
Okay.
I also
Okay. Forward
get my
thinking.
opinion, but get my
Yeah.
opinions across, right? Because
Yeah.
you never know who you're gonna reach, right? So if you can come across in a certain way, somebody who may never listen to, like I was saying earlier, may hear something that they find is extremely pivotal for their life. And for me, that's the meat of doing this, right? If I say anything that's going to make your life better, that's awesome. Like that
Yes.
makes me happy. Like that's like the joy for
Mhm.
me. That is the cream of the crop, cherry on top kind of thing for me. But social media, I do social media, and I know that it does impact people because I have people reach out to me or they'll meet me on the street and they'll be like, because I'll do markets and they'll be like, oh, I saw you on social media. Wow, I really love
Okay.
this or that. So at first I didn't realize that people were actually watching my social media because like not most people don't actually like your posts and people don't say anything.
Yep.
Then you meet them and they're like, wow, like that was really poignant, or I really like that. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I just continue to do it more for just getting information out there. But yeah, most of my things are referral, or Google actually has been very kind to me.
Okay.
Just in the fact that I am a little bit of a niche, I'm someone who has the mixed training. I also am somebody who works in the mental health realm. I have a background with addiction. That's usually also quite rare to see. And then also women's health, having many, many years of that. So that I end up getting people pretty and through somehow the World Wide Web has been kind to me. And
Hey,
I'm very
that's
grateful
good.
for that. I'm very
That's
grateful
good.
for the World Wide Web. Yeah.
No, no, we've had our challenges in the kratom world over the years of them trying to ban us, and I've been
I
kicked
can
off of
imagine.
most social media from not even really posting anything, of just saying, "Hey, this is what this did for me," and they didn't
Mm.
like that, and they'll allow it. They were allowing it for a while, but then as soon as you put your business name out there, anything connected to business, they were
Mhm.
not liking that right away. But I'm glad to see that at least in your realm of the holistic healing. I've heard some other stories from other holistic practitioners having to be very careful about advertising in certain
Mm.
areas.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I think it's been very positive. So I'm glad to hear that's been the case with you
Yeah.
as well. And I'm
Thank you.
assuming the podcast has been good to you. Being, how did that feel having someone just come up to you out of nowhere, like, "Hey, I seen you on this." You're kind of like, was it like, "Oh my
Oh,
God, really?"
the first time it happened, I was like, wow. I was like, no way. Cause she's like, oh my God. She's like, I get your things. I'm on Reddit and I watched your YouTube video from Reddit and da 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 and all this stuff. And I was like, what? I couldn't even follow what she was saying at first because she was so excited.
Just so excited,
And
awestruck,
she
like, "Oh
was
my
so
gosh."
excited. And I'm like, wow, it just occurred to me that I am helping people in a way that I don't even know sometimes. And it felt so good to be able to, like, she felt helped. She was going on and on about like how she learned this in the video and then she's been applying it. And da, da, da. So it felt so nice to like be able to share knowledge with people and help them take it and apply it on their own in their own way. That's really what I want people to do, right?
There
I
you
want
go.
people to be able to take what I'm saying and make it their own and then however it works for them. My way doesn't have to be it just I'm just repeating knowledge from high above and from way beyond
Yes.
me, and that's it, you
Well,
know?
and I think people get in trouble if you think that there's one absolute answer to all
Yes.
questions or one absolute approach. There's not. We're all very different. There's so much to learn from other people. And as soon as in my world, as soon as I think I know something, the universe comes down and slaps me in the face going, "No, no, no, no,
Uh,
no, no. You
no,
need
you
to learn
don't.
more here. Here's some new problems for you. Let's see what you can do with it." But I think that's just part of the human experience, is to learn further experiences, to gain, I mean, turn that bad situation into something positive. Start your
Mhm.
own business and be a positive light in the world. I mean, that's very admirable. I'm assuming it's kind of like how teachers feel when they finally inspire that student that gets it, or
Oh my
uh
gosh. Yeah.
it just
I
gotta
give
feel
teachers
amazing.
special discounts because I just feel like they are doing the hard work out there and they don't get paid enough for what they do.
I believe it.
That's for
I
sure.
believe it.
Yeah.
No,
Uh-huh.
they
Yeah.
do that. They're essential, and I think there needs to be, in my personal opinion, there needs to be a revolution in that whole industry, because just whatever they've been doing or been doing lately is not working, and however we're teaching these kids is not working, and things are getting way crazier in my opinion. But unfortunately, until you go down a wrong road, you don't know what
Oh
the right
yeah.
road is, you know? So
So true.
as long as we can realize, like, hey, this isn't working out, and maybe make some great changes, I'm hoping for the best. Like I said, I'm more of the glass half full versus
Yep.
half empty type person, because there's enough people out there that think the world's coming to an end. I want to be around people that project light and wants to have see the future as bright versus glim and hopeless. That just seems like a huge disservice. So,
And
well,
even if the world was coming to, I'll just say one thought here.
no,
Even if
yeah,
the
go
world
ahead,
was
keep
coming
going.
to an end, why not enjoy the journey before it comes to an end? Like,
Exactly.
you
Like
know, like
it's
okay,
a
so what?
mindset. It's a mindset, and
Yeah,
like you were kind
just
of
enjoy
alluding,
it.
and personally I've had to realize that it's even the words you use for yourself have huge meaning. And the way, like for me, everybody's getting to their dark places and getting dark places, but then my self-talk would be very negative. And it took
Mm-hmm.
an
Mm-hmm.
ex-girlfriend really, like, I didn't even notice it, but then she kind of
Mm.
like pulled me aside. She's like, "You're always so hard on yourself. You help other people, and you got unlimited patience for everybody else, but yourself,
Aw,
you're so you're." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because
that's
that's the
so
only thing I can
sweet.
control." And I'm like, but she goes, "The way you talk to yourself, you might want to look into the change in that." And it didn't dawn on me, and then it was just kind of like going back to my favorite Michael Jackson song, "The Man in the Mirror," and I was like, "Ooh, oh yeah." You're not an idiot. Quit saying you dumbass, you idiot.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, and then
yeah.
you're like, everybody does it. It's all right. But if you can look at it not as some hindrance or something to bring you down, or look at it more as a challenge.
Absolutely.
Something bad happened. You got this great opportunity to overcome it and to learn from it. And it's tough sometimes. It's really tough the way this world throws the universe and the world throws things at you. Just when you think you're on top, they'll knock you back down. And
Oh, it will. It will. It definitely will.
and especially if you own your own business and a small business owner, you're gonna get knocked down a few dozen times. No one just starts something up and, oh wow, I'm rich and
And
successful. Like, no,
Les
don't
Brown
work
says
that
that.
way.
I so he says something about you gotta fall down in order to succeed. Like Les Brown, he's a motivational speaker, also speaks on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I've heard it a couple different ways, but I mean, the ultimate analogy of it is, if you, and that, I mean, that even goes into like deeper thought of like the banality between good and evil. Like, can there be
Oh, we could
ultimate
go
good
into
or ultimate, yeah, evil? And it always lines in, is like, I get the yin and yang, because there needs to be a balance, because unfortunately, with that evil or making bad choices,
hmm
we can't understand good or perceive good for the glory it is. So until you can have that contrast, unfortunately, there needs to be evil in the world. It's just, we got to find a better balance between it. And I don't think people understand that. There's good and evil in everybody. There's heaven and hell in everybody. It's
hmm
your choice to where you want to see the world. Do you want to see it as heaven, or do you want to see it as hell? You can choose where you want to live. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and
This
it
concept
all.
that you're talking about, I feel like again, another whole podcast. Like
Oh
we
yes.
could just
Well,
speak
we're
just
gonna.
on this itself.
Well, let's get together soon, and we'll have a whole nother one. Just to finish this one up, since we're just about running out of time here, where can people find you, or how can people
Yeah.
learn more about your practice and more about what you've been talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So my business's name is Cream Shakti, and I'll spell the website. It's www.kreemshakti.com. And there's a blog on there about what that all means. And that same name, Cream Shakti, is on YouTube, it is on TikTok, it is on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, if you
Nice.
reach out with any questions, I'm here.
Well, I hope you reach out, people. I mean, she is a very wise and full of great energy and light. And I am so thankful to have you on my podcast today and taking the time out to have this conversation. I hope we inspire a few people from it. So thank you for
Absolutely.
coming on. I look forward to maybe doing another one with you here in the future.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation.
All right. We'll see y'all again later. Have a good day. Bye, guys. This has been The Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals. I hope you enjoyed this episode. To find any of our great products, log on to blissfulbotanicals.shop, and hope to see you again soon. Eyes open, no fear. I'm your host, JR Knopp.